Minutes. We're talking minutes, baby. Just a matter of minutes. And Milan were away from securing their third victory over rivals Inter this season. Minutes away from a statement win. Minutes away from a statement performance. Minutes away from a title turning victory. And on top of that, you win the Milan Derby. Like, let's not forget that. But it was just a matter of minutes. It was just a matter of minutes. It just required more concentration. But that's what happens when you take the gamble that Sergio Conceição took. He took a big gamble. And I feel like it was the exact same blueprint that he used in the Super Coppa final where Milan won. But I feel like maybe Inzaghi just knew. This is how Sergio Conceição would set up. And I need to find a way around it. And boy, oh boy, did Inter struggle. But look, let's just get into it. In the first half, now Sergio Conceição, I've mentioned it many times. How does he like his teams to set up? He's a very versatile manager where at times it's 4-2-3-1, then it's a 4-4-2, and sometimes he goes with 5 at the back. But he is a manager where his ethos, his principles, they focus a lot on fight. Yeah, you probably weren't expecting that. But his ethos, his principles, they focus a lot on fight. He wants his players to give him 120%. He wants his players to be running the whole match straight. And I'll be honest with you guys, I saw that with Milan today. I saw Theo Hernandez going into 50-50s, coming out on top. Yes, he was coming out on top. I'm seeing Rafa Leao sprinting back, making slide tackles in his own box. They understood the occasion. And I feel like they implemented the manager's instructions to a T. But look, in football, sometimes you need luck. But let's look into it. I feel like in the first half, they went at it. You could see off the ball, they set up in a 4-4-2. Pulisic, Tammy Abraham, leading the flank, leading the press. And then they've got 2 rows of 4. Now, why? Why are they setting up with 2 rows of 4? Inter, there's a heavy focus on wing play when it comes to Inter. Why? Because that's where their most penetrative of players are. Their wing backs. So, I need to double up on them. I can't leave Dumfries against Theo Hernandez. I can't leave somebody like DeMarco, the best wing back in the world, against Kyle Walker. I need to constantly have my players doubling up on them. And there's a reason why Milan set up in the 4-4-2 off the ball. But the thing is, when they got the first goal, that's when it all changed. And personally, I love it when a manager changes their tactics and changes their formation mid-game, because it just catches the opposition by guard, and it also shows everybody different formations come with different responsibilities, different zones of territory, and just a different style of play. But when you look at the goal, Milan was set up in a 4-4-2 off the ball. This is what I'm talking about when I say fight. Inter have the ball in Milan's half. Tammy Abraham sprinting back, sticks his foot in, he wins the ball. This is a striker running back to defend his own goal, wins the ball back. Benacer receives the ball, carries inwards. I feel like I haven't read yet, guys, whether he was injured, whether it was a tactical switch. Benacer for me was having a great first half, especially the fact that when Milan would press, he would be one of the midfielders that joins in with Pulisic and Tammy Abraham. Benacer, he's tenacious, he's aggressive, he gets stuck in. I feel like it helped Milan a lot. But like I said, I haven't read if it was injuries or tactical, but I was surprised to see him taken off at half-time. But Tammy Abraham wins the ball. Benacer, he carries inwards. Now he knows, down the left, I've got Rafa Leao sprinting down the line. Feeds it into his path. And I was watching it and I was like, you either strike this with your left foot across goal or you put this ball across goal. But the thing that I loved about this goal the most was Reinders. Because this is just smart. This is just intelligence. You could see Reinders is sprinting the same time that Rafa Leao was sprinting. But then last second, he pauses. I know you guys probably can't see it best in the photos, but he pauses because he's like, everybody is sprinting towards the goal. All of my teammates are sprinting towards goal. Everybody is waiting, anticipating the tap-in. But what if the tap-in never happens? And there's a rebound. So you know what? I'm going to stop running. And you could see he pauses because he's like, you know what? I'm going to now take this gamble and tell myself maybe I will get a rebound. Maybe there will be a deflection and it falls for me. And that's exactly what happened. Reinders was in the perfect spot at the perfect time. Puts it into the roof of the net. It was a lovely goal, but that was a Sergio Conceição goal where his teams, they sit back, they contain pressure, but then they win their duels. And then when they win their duels, they pounce. They go from 0 to 100 within seconds. And Milan scored. But why was it a gamble? Because the game changed as soon as that goal went in. Milan set up in a 5-2-3 shape. Jimenez comes on for Benacer. That's now an extra defender. They go set up in a back five. And then they've just got the midfield where it's Reinders and Musa just anchoring the centre of the field. And then you've got Pulisic, Tammy Abraham, Rafa Leao. You guys are now going to become our outlets. But this is where the problem is. When you set up in this 5-2-3 shape, it will frustrate the life out of the opposition. And it frustrated Inter. They really, really, really did. They couldn't break it down. When they got into Milan's own half, it was congested. It was cramped. They couldn't... Inter, they love to do these central overloads, whether it's Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu, Barella. Then sometimes the wing backs, they tuck in and the centre backs push out wide. They love central overloads to bounce the ball off one another. But you see, when Milan have already cramped their entire team in their own half, you can't do overloads. Because it's literally man for man. It becomes wherever you put the ball, I've got a man advantage on you. And I feel like it became so frustrating for Inter to try break them down. But this is where the gamble is. When you set up in a 5-2-3 shape, you now tell yourself, I'm going to sit back and defend. You've got 5 defenders. The 2 midfielders that anchor them are defensive minded. That's now 7 defensive minded players on the pitch. Then you've got the goalkeeper. 8. You've got 8 players. You've set up your team to defend. You've set up your team, most importantly, to invite pressure. And that's why I called it the Conceição gamble. Because I've got 1 goal lead. I don't really have a cushion. I'm coming up against one of the, if not the best team in the Serie A in Inter. To sit back for practically a whole half, it's satisfying when you win because you could see the anger, you could see the frustration in the opposition. But when you concede, there's no more fight in the tank. Why? Because these players are now drained. They've had to remain focused mentally, physically. They've had to cover all the ground. They've had to win their duels. That's why when Inter scored, Milan just looked knackered. They didn't have it in them anymore. It's just a game of concentration. And I feel like in the dying minutes, the concentration went. In the dying minutes, the concentration went. You could see Inter, they're playing out. It just got to a case where they were just putting crosses into the box. When Bisek is on the ball, I'm just watching this and I'm watching Chukwueze and I'm like, you could see the Inter player behind you and you could see he's making the run. He doesn't check his mirrors. He doesn't check to the left to see that there's a player running and I need to track him. He goes. You can even see Zelewski put up his hand. He's asking for the ball. He's asking for the ball. He knows I'm unmarked. I'm open. Put it at the back post. If Chukwueze had just followed him, that would have been a fire that Milan put out. It's a game of concentration. He didn't follow him. The cross comes in. He chests it into De Vrij, and it's 1-1. The gamble is you set up your team to defend. You need to make sure you remain focused. You remain concentrated. You win your duels. You put out the fires. But on top of that, when you do regain the ball, what's my favourite saying? Ball retention is a form of defense. You can defend. You can put your body on the line. You can block. You can clear shots off the line. But you know what will also help you maintain a 1-0 lead? Ball retention. If you retain the ball, the opposition can't score. There's no way. There is no way in hell a team can score if you have the ball. They could have 11 Messis out there. They could have 11 Cristiano Ronaldos out there. If you have the ball, they can't score. Ball retention is a form of defense. And personally, I feel like it was a mature Milan performance. Like at times, you saw Chukwueze pick up the ball and everybody's thinking, go, 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 go. Puts his foot on the ball, turns around, recycles. He wants his team to retain the ball. I feel like with Conceição, if this is the way that he wants to set up his Milan teams, especially in big games, to try and nullify the opposition, you could see from a defensive standpoint, they were solid. And it was just a matter of concentration in the dying minutes. But I feel like when they do get the ball, rather than just launching it back into the opposition's half where now they regain possession, put your foot on the ball, play your game, pass the ball around. Because the funny thing is, the more you pass the ball around, the more the team that's losing becomes desperate and they start pressing you. And the more they press and the more bodies they commit forwards, one, it drains them out physically, but two, it leaves a lot of space in behind for you to attack. That is the only criticism I have. I feel like in the dying minutes, they were tired. They couldn't hold on to the ball, so they just kept giving it back to Inter. And Inter kept putting cross after cross after cross. Hit the post like what, 3-4 times? Had 1 or 2 disallowed goals. You could smell fire. But on top of that, I look at it like this. A manager that's 4 or 5 years into his cycle in comparison to a manager that's walked into a storm, already having clashes with players. There's a lot of problems internally at Milan. For him to manage to rally the troops and get those players to put on a performance just like they did, I have to credit Sergio Conceição. There's a reason why I've dedicated this video to him. But that was the Sergio Conceição gamble. As much as there were rewards, there were consequences. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to let me know what you think of the Milan Derby in the comments. And I'll catch you guys on another one.